We're going to take a look at the Orbit B-hyve Wi-Fi timer. It's a new product from Orbit Irrigation. I am an employee. I've been working on this project, but I am making this video on my own time, just to try to help folks out that are having some questions or any problems getting their timer connected or programmed or anything. I'll be using the Android phone that I have, and we'll go through basically everything from setting up your account, getting your timer connected to your Wi-Fi, and then programming the timer from there, and as many options as we can once we're in the app. So you'll have to go to the Android store or iTunes store to download and install the app. Once the app is installed, you'll launch the app and you'll come to this screen. What we'll do is you'll create your own account. The next step is to accept the end user license agreement. You have to scroll all the way to the bottom for the accept button to be available. Accept that. So now you have your Orbit online account or your Orbit timer account, and it's giving you some instructions to check your Wi-Fi signal. I'm doing this in my living room right next to my router. If your timer is going to be out in your garage, out in a shed, you're going to want to go out with your phone and check your signal strength on your phone. Right now, I have full bars because I'm really close to my Wi-Fi router. If you get out to where you have to install the timer and you don't have Wi-Fi or reliable Wi-Fi on your phone, chances are you're going to have a really hard time getting your timer connected, or it's not going to connect at all. So you need to make sure that you have a strong enough signal where the timer is going to be installed. So this is as if the timer were just brand new out of the box. I did a factory reset. You'll notice up here in the upper left corner that this Wi-Fi signal is emanating outward. That means that it's currently in pairing mode. The screen is empty. Doesn't say anything right now. We'll go through repairing later, but when out of the box, brand new, the timer will start up in pairing mode to begin with. So we know we have good signal strength here. This is unique to Android. iOS users can ignore this, but there are some Android phones that have a Wi-Fi setting that if the device or the Wi-Fi connection that they have doesn't have internet, it will switch the phone back to cellular, and that is not going to work to pair the timer. So there's more instructions here, tells you about this setting, what it looks like, and if you have this setting, you can go right to settings and you can look. Mine is called switch to mobile data. That needs to be unchecked or turned off. Otherwise, your phone won't stay connected to the timer long enough to change the settings. So turn that off if you have that setting. Not all phones have it. And then return to the app. So now, with that setting turned off, you go ahead and start the pairing. Now the phone is looking for a timer to connect to. You'll see it found this Orbit Smart Home and a bunch of zeros, and it's 29. That's basically the end of the MAC address for this timer. That is my timer, so I'm going to connect to my timer. So now what my phone is doing is it's actually connecting to the timer. Now the timer is going to go and look for available Wi-Fi connections. And once it gets a list, it puts them in order of strongest signal to weakest signal, and it can only hold 10 options. So if the first time it brings back this list you don't see your router there, then you can hit this refresh button and it will go and look again, and you can do that a few times if you need to try to get the right timer there, or the correct Wi-Fi router. If you still can't get it, move your timer closer to your Wi-Fi router because it's based on signal strength again. And then once you've got your router there that you want to connect to, if it's password protected, you'll want to put in your password for your router. And if you need to, you can show the password to connect to that timer or to that Wi-Fi in your home. And then if you have SSID broadcasting turned off, you can use the advanced feature to set up your Wi-Fi much like you would on any other advanced setting on any other device. So it's going to go and scan again because I came back to the screen. Once this comes back up, we'll go ahead and connect. There it is. So right now what we want to watch for, as soon as I hit this connect button, we want to watch this little wireless signal here. It's going to start to blink solid. That means it's trying to connect. Once it connects, it will stop blinking here. So watch this. It's blinking solid. It says it's connecting. It didn't work. It went back to pairing mode. So this is going to take a while. I may cut this out here, but this will take a while for it to time out. It says it can take up to 2 minutes, and it really will. I probably entered the password wrong for my network. It's my guest network. I don't always use this one. So if this happens, just wait it out. Okay, it timed out. We weren't able to connect the first time, so it's taking us back to the beginning. So we're going to connect to the timer again. It's going to look for our Wi-Fi again. Should be correct. Let's try it now. Watch, it's blinking solid. Now it stopped blinking. That means that the timer has connected to your Wi-Fi router and to the internet, into the Orbit server. So it was able to connect. You notice the app also advanced to the next step. There is a time or some scenarios where your timer will connect, but the app never detects that the timer connected. As long as you have a solid Wi-Fi signal here with no exclamation, no blinking, you're okay. If your app goes back to the previous step, you can actually just close the app and then relaunch it, and it'll take you into the home screen. You have to do a few things manually, but your timer did connect. As long as that Wi-Fi signal is solid there. So we go ahead and enter in a zip code. I'm going to pick California. It's not where I'm at, but give it a name. Okay, so now it's saying, now that your timer is connected to your network, you can continue to set up your system. So we need to tell the timer which zones are connected. Right now I'm going to use lights to represent when the zones turn on and off. And so we just need to tell the system what zones are active on your timer, which ones are wired up. And you can tell that, and obviously if you wired them up, they'll show here on the inside. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 currently wired up on mine for testing. A couple nice things about this while we're here. This angled electrical panel here makes it a lot easier to get the wires in. You don't have to try and get them in straight. They face up towards you a little bit. And the timer does come with a tool as well, so a screwdriver to do that. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and continue to set up our timer. So I'm going to tell it that I have 4 zones for now. I actually have 12 available on this timer, but I'm just going to go with 4. That's what we have lights for. I'll go next. So now it's just telling us we're going to go through and test each zone. So I hit test on the zone, and we see the light comes on, And the screen is also telling us that we're running station 1 for 1 minute. That's the test. So we say stop. That worked. So I know that this one is going to be, we'll go with front lawn. So we name the zone. You don't have to remember what zone 1 is anymore. You can actually give it a name, which is really nice. So we're going to test zone 2. And the light for zone 2 came on. And we're running station 1 for 1 minute. Station and zone get used interchangeably. Basically, when we're talking about the station, we're talking about on the timer. When we talk about zone, we're talking about in your yard. So we kind of divide up the yard by zones, and on the timer, we talk about stations. So, but they get used interchangeably. So I'm going to give this one a name. Front flowers. And same with zone 3. And there came the light. Station 3 is running. Call this back lawn. And zone 4. And the light comes on. So that worked. We'll call this back flowers. Something that is new with this timer for Orbit timers is called smart watering. We can basically just input some information about the yard or the zones that are going to be watered, and the smart watering feature will figure out, based on your location, your evaporation tables, current weather, actual rainfall, those as many inputs as we can, into figuring out a smart watering program for you, so you don't actually have to tell it when to water, for how long, or anything. It just does it for you, which is pretty cool. Or you can opt to go custom, which means you create your own program for program A, B, and C, and you tell it which zones you want in each one and for how long you want them to run. We'll go with smart for now. We'll get into the custom program later. So say smart. So now it tells us basically again that what it's going to do, the smart watering, and how it's going to calculate. So we'll go ahead and set up the front lawn for smart watering. So we can give it as a picture. Let's see. There we go. So you can assign a picture to a zone. So you can take a picture of your yard or a picture on your phone. Helps you remember what that zone is. And it's got a name. So we start out by telling it soil type. This is lawn, probably close to a loam or a clay loam. And we give it a plant type. This is lawn. We tell it how much sun it gets, either it's a full shade or partial sun or full sun. And then we say how steep the yard is, the grade. My yard is kind of steep. So do you have spray heads, rotor heads, or drip? Mine are spray in this one. And how many? Just going to guesstimate. And we're basically set up. None of this is actually 100% required, but the more information you input, the smarter your smart watering will be, and the more accurate the watering will be to your lawn. Another way to do this is with catch cups. Catch cups are an accessory that are available also wherever typically you purchased your timer. They actually measure the water from your sprinklers, and you can input that amount, and then your smart watering will be super smart because it knows exactly how much water is coming in, and then with all of these other inputs, it knows exactly what to give your yard. We'll just go with those for now. And so if I don't want to use smart watering for my front flowers, I can skip it. Maybe I don't want smart watering on my flowers. So I'll just skip. Again, just set all these inputs. Again, it's optional, but the more we input, the smarter it will be. So now I got both lawns set up for smart watering. We'll go with that for now. So now that I'm putting in all the smart watering that I want to, I just hit next. It tells me you haven't set up everything for every zone for smart watering. So yeah, I know. Depending on your area where you live, you can have watering restrictions. Some of them are seasonal, some are all year round. You can enter those here. You can say which days you want to water on, but you can say don't water between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. for example is very common for us here. So what this is saying is smart watering can water every day, but it can't water from between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Or I could say only water even days or only water odd days. So you can set that up however your watering restrictions are. And we say next. Now we're done. That's it. We have our timer programmed. And now you can see there's a phone symbol here on the timer. That basically indicates it's going to be using smart watering. So now that we're in we're in. You're set up. Those two zones are going to water, but we haven't done anything for flowers yet. So let's go ahead and we need to create a program. You can see our zones here. Those are the zones we set up. If we go to zone 1, we can see that it's all set up for smart watering. Zone 2 is not. Neither is zone 4 because it's also flowers. So what we'll do is we'll come to the program screen just left of the home button. So home takes you back home. This is the program screen. So what we can do is we can create a program here. I'm going to call it flowers. Give it a start time. If I want it to start at 5:30 p.m. or a.m. It's okay. If I want to water more than once a day, I can. I could say water again at 9:30 p.m. So now I have 2 start times. Then I tell it which zones I want to water. So I want it to water the front flowers for 15 minutes, and back flowers for how many ever, and you can go a lot of minutes here. Go back. So now we have flowers watering at 2 different start times, the 2 zones. Now I can tell it when to water. I can do every single day. I can skip days. I can do evens, odds, or I can do an interval. So I can say every 1 day, 2 days, however. So sometimes by trying to go by weekdays, you always end up with 2 days together. So if you do interval, then you can say every 2 days, and we'll just keep on track. Watering budget is really cool. This is something I learned about this year. You can, without having to adjust your run times here on everything, all you need to do is increase or decrease your budget, and that will change the run durations as well. So 100% means basically what you set them to run as. So go ahead and say save, and now instantly you saw program A appear on the timer, and it's enabled. So now we have smart watering. So let me show that again. This icon brings you into our smart watering. So we have smart watering for front lawn and back lawn. And we have a program called flowers, which is covering our flowers, in program slot A. From the home screen, you have a remote control. So from this remote control, we can start manual programs. We can pick a zone. So if I want to water my front flowers, I can say for how long and hit start. You can see that the timer right away takes that command, creates this manual program, and turns on that station on the timer. I can stop it, and we go back. There we go. Now my zone is turning off and on, program A, and you see the start time it adjusts because that is the default start time for our smart watering. So program A is back on. I can also, with the remote, pick a program that I've saved. So if I want to run flowers, that will create a program with both zones in it. And the first one is set to run for 15 minutes. That's station 2. I can skip to the next one. And that one's going to run for 25 minutes. Or I can stop them both. Now, if it's going to rain, smart watering will do a really good job of kind of predicting that based on forecast, and it can set a rain delay for you automatically. But if you have manual programs and no smart watering, you can set a rain delay for yourself. Or if smart watering isn't and you want to set a rain delay, maybe not just because it's going to rain, but maybe because you're going to have a party in your backyard and you don't want to get rained on from your sprinklers, you can set a rain delay. So you can set a 24-hour, 48, or a 3+ days rain delay. So I can just hit 24-hour rain delay. And the timer is now showing a 24-hour delay. And so is the app. And you can cancel that just by pressing this X. We can look at our schedule to see what we have coming up for watering. Green is flowers, blue is smart watering. So it looks like we have watering scheduled for the 19th on here right now. And it usually only takes you out one for smart watering because it's recalculating every day and even throughout the day based on the weather conditions as they change. You can look at this in days and weeks also. Okay, so that's basically it. So going back to the initial setup, had we said, you know what, we just want to do custom and not set up smart watering, you can come in here, no program set, come into the program screen. You can create programs without assigning them to a slot. So we're going to discard that. So back here on the screen, I don't have to tap a slot to create a program. I can just do this plus here, and I can do a program for lawn, for example. Again, I give it a start time. And I give it the zones. It's a lot of water. Don't water for that long. Just as an example. I can pick the days. That I want it to run. I can save that. Now I have this program lawn. It's not scheduled to run anywhere though, but I can use it at any time. So I can select one of these slots, say I want to pick a program, and I can put lawn in there. Now it's in there. I can turn just B off, turn both off, just B back on, or A, however it works, or however you want it. Cool, so that's working. So we go back to our home screen, we see what's going to water next. Right now it's flowers we're watering at 9:30 p.m. today. But if we turn flowers off, lawn will be watered at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow. Or we can turn lawn off. Now smart watering will begin watering at 6 a.m. Saturday morning. So it always knows what's going to be next. So here in the settings we have a few things. You have info about your account, your devices, shows you your timer name, its MAC address, how many stations, how many set up. It's got information about the timer, the location. So from here, if you want to, you can just turn the timer all the way off. And it turned the timer off. Turn it back on. We can turn smart watering off. So now we turn smart watering off, come back to the home screen, everything goes away. We currently have no program scheduled. So if we come back in and we turn smart watering back on, this one is not instant. This one requires you to leave that screen and then it turns back on, and then you can come back. We have our watering restrictions currently set to what I did in the initial setup. Everything that we can control from the timer is there. currently have no program scheduled. Oh, it looks like our smart watering got turned off. There it is. Smart watering is turned on. I can also turn on my programs, and they come back on here as well. Something's kind of cool, you can actually cycle through on your timer. So if we come in and say turn everything off, or just A, see in your app, I didn't touch it, it turned B off. So if I go through and turn A or just B on, it changes in the app. I turn A and B on, it changes in the app. And if I turn smart watering on only, it turns those off. Now we just have smart watering. If I go to A, B, and smart watering, now we have A and B and smart watering. So updating the timer updated the app as well. Pretty cool. All right, let's see what else. Okay, so let's say you get a new router and you have to update your Wi-Fi settings. This is how you do it. If your router's not, or your timer's not connected to your router because you got a new router, or if you changed the password and you forgot to update your timer right away, what you do is you come to your timer and you rotate the knob to the off position and press on the knob, and it turns it off. You open this back panel. There's a reset button right here. Just press that. When you do that, it puts the timer back into pairing mode. And it says pair right there. It's kind of hard to read, but that's all the characters we have on the display. But that says pair. Then we come here to the phone. Oh, and you'll notice that this is emanating upward again. So this is your symbol for pairing. So you say update Wi-Fi settings. We say, and it's going to tell you to check your network and everything. Say okay. So we're going to say start pairing. The phone is going to connect to the timer. The timer is going to go out and get a list of nearby Wi-Fi routers or signals to connect to. We'll pick our Wi-Fi again, and I want to see it as I type it. Try to get the right one and connect. This starts to blink. And when it's solid, that means that the timer connected. And the app says, I see the timer now. Comes back to the screen, and we are good. We can go to the home screen. Shows that we're connected, but it says that the timer is off, and it is. So we can either use the dial here to turn it on, just by rotating up to auto, or we can come into the settings, devices, to our timer, and this is a little bit of a trick, but you go off, or to auto, because it was off, go to auto. If it says auto, but it says off here, then go off and then auto again, and it will bring it back on. So now the timer came back on. That's pretty much it. One other setting in device, you'll want to be careful with this one, but you can deauthorize your timer. If you deauthorize your timer, it deletes everything. All the programs are gone. It removes it from your Orbit B-hyve timer account. The timer is gone. If you reconnect, you'll have to reprogram, redo everything. Be careful with that one, but it's there so that if the timer were to be transferred to someone else, if you don't do that step, the next person or whoever is trying to pair the timer and program it won't be able to. That is the basics of your Orbit B-hyve Wi-Fi timer. It's pretty cool. It's amazing to be able to see what your timer is doing while you're at work or on vacation or whatever. Oh, I want to show you this. So I just wanted to run a manual program from the timer. I'll just say all stations, and Here we go. So this should be creating a manual program. We'll say I'll just go 1 minute for every station. And you see on the phone, it created a program for all 12 stations. All 12 are going to run for 1 minute. And you can see here as I'll cycle through this. The lights change, goes to the next zone. Waters, the timer updates the station. Now we're on 5, 6, and so on, and stop. Pretty awesome. Just really cool that you can see while you're away when your timer is watering. You'll be able to know what it's doing, for how long it's going to water. You'll be able to hit rain delay. You'll be able to reprogram it. It's so fast to use the app to program your timer. Oh, I did just think of something. I only set up 4 zones. This is a 12 zone timer. If I hit this edit button here on the zone screen, I can add more zones. When I'm done, now I have that zone. I can come in, I can set it up. Now I have a zone 8. And give it a name. Now I have a garden zone. And that will become part of my smart watering program. So it's amazing how fast you can set up zones, how you can throw them in new programs. You can move programs in and out of zones, or out of slots. So if I want to, I can move lawn up to flowers. Say pick, I want lawn there instead. Puts lawn there, kicks flowers out. Now flowers is available to be put somewhere else or just not run. So just really cool way it works. And the timer shows it's only got 1 program now. Almost instantaneous. Well, I hope you have well, that's the Orbit B-hyve Wi-Fi timer. If you have any questions, post them below and do my best to answer them. And the other thing that's really cool about this is it's a fraction of the price of other Wi-Fi timers on the market today. It's nearly untouchable compared to any other timer. They don't come close. Very affordable. There's a few major big box stores and online that are selling it now, so it's out there, it's available. If you're looking for a new timer, this is definitely a very cool timer for the homeowner. All right, thanks for watching.